Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about a brand new version of SignTraker, SignTraker version 8.5. This release has two main things going on. Actually, one big new main feature addition, and then a variety of smaller additions that are essentially licensee requests. But the main feature we're adding here is the ability to have SignTraker generate statements and manage payments, much like we do for monthly CC customers. So as you know, if you have a monthly CC customer, SignTraker accumulates all their information and sends them one statement at the end of the billing period and charges their credit card. What we can do now with terms customers is have SignTraker accumulate all their billing activity just like it has done before, but then send them a statement, much like we do with monthly CC, and then you can record check payments, PayPal payments, Venmo payments, etc., and manage those receivables within your SignTraker environment. It makes it a little easier, particularly if you're not really familiar with how to use QuickBooks to the full extent. So let's talk about that feature, and then we'll get into some of the other more specialized features following this section. Many of you are familiar with the consolidated billing feature in SignTraker and the consolidated billing grid. This is where we can keep track of all our monthly CC customers, the bills that they've accumulated, their payment status, failed, paid, or pending. We can also take a look at individual bills, open them up, see the individual billing detail, print those particular bills if you'd like. These are the bills that are sent to individual customers, which if they have a failed payment will also include a payment link. Now, when we move into the new version of SignTraker, and what we see here is a new version of our consolidated billing grid. That's a few new things here. First, the payment mode. We're going to see now that not only do we have our monthly CC customers, but we'll have our terms customers listed as well. This would include all managers, staff that are self-payers, and cost centers. We'll be able to manage all of them now within this one grid. We're also going to have additional payment statuses. So in addition to failed and paid and pending, we also have now a partially paid modality, which would be applicable to some of those customers if they pay us by check and maybe short pay us or something like this. We can record partially paid. And lastly, there's a new column here called closed. Now, when a bill is paid in full, it's automatically closed by SignTraker. You don't have to worry about it. But you can also manually close bills if they're partially paid. And you can also open past bills and take a look at past billing activities. So the open and close is really just a way to keep your screen clean. So you can pretty much look at anything that's open, and everything else is closed. Now, what do we do with these terms bills? Let's take a look at Chad here. He is a monthly terms customer. He's got a service call. He's got an install. His monthly bill is $85. If we'd like, we can go ahead and print his monthly bill. This is the bill that he's getting sent as well. It's going to include all his activity. It's not going to include a payment link, though, because he's not a monthly CC. He's really going to send us a check, or he's going to PayPal us the money, or what have you. When we receive that check, we can record the payment. So he owes us $85. We'll type in that 85. We'll record our payment date. Today happens to be the first of the month. We'll record the check number, and then we're going to be all set. Now, what happens in case we have multiple payments or we've got overpayments? Let's take a look at that. We're going to open one of these previously recorded consolidated bills, and we got here Chad Murphy. He's had three payments, $63 and $1. A little bit of an overpayment, actually. So we're going to go ahead and record those payments, though. And then when we go ahead and export this to QuickBooks, we'll have that information over there, and we can apply those payments. Let's take a look. We'll take a look at first our customer card here. There's our friend Chad, and we can see there's our order, $63, and the three payments, $3, $1, and $60. So what do we do with these? Well, we're going to go ahead and apply these as we ordinarily would any other check payment, except we don't actually have to create the payment. It's already been recorded in SignTraker as a credit that's been transferred from SignTraker. So we're going to just click the Apply Credits button here and then choose the credits we want. So it's $63 they owes us, so we're going to choose 60 and then the 3, and we're going to go ahead and leave that dollar out there for future use. So we're going to go ahead and record those, hit the Save and New button here, or Save and Close, and then we're going to be all set. Let's circle back on these consolidated bills and look at these closed items again. A couple comments on these. When a bill is closed, either automatically or because you manually close it, it's just taken off of the screen. If the bill is only partially paid, in other words, this particular bill down here from Kevin Kurdna, he owed us $1,460. He only paid us $1,450. It's still partially paid, even though you've close this bill right here, that customer is still going to get sent reminders just like monthly CC. So for example, a monthly CC customer, if they owed us some money and their card failed, SignTraker would send them a reminder, send you a reminder, and keep the open balance showing up here in your open balance report here. So if the customer is going to short pay you and you're okay with that for whatever reason that is, you're going to have to go ahead and apply a credit to Kevin Curtin's account. So even though you close it, the point is, even if you close it, if there's an open balance, SignTraker is going to keep trying to collect that money unless you tell SignTraker to not worry about it by applying a credit to that person's account. Let's just touch briefly on cost centers. We know that cost centers, by definition, are terms clients. So if we have this example enterprise here, AZ Realty, they've got some cost centers. One of them happens to be David Nice Guy. So if you're interested in taking a look at what consolidated billing he's getting, we can go ahead and find him within our consolidated billing grid. We'll take a look at everything that he's got. And of course, his bills will be shown there too. So now you're going to find all of your monthly CC and terms customers, billable staff, managers, and cost centers all now in one location. Now let's talk about how we're going to set up this functionality. First thing we're going to do is go to our operational settings, and we're going to click on the billing tab, and we're going to make sure we have this option turned on right here called Enable Consolidated Billing for Terms Customers. This is going to be by default turned off when this is released. That way, anybody that doesn't want to use this functionality can continue doing things the way they've been doing them. However, if you do want to use the statements coming from SignTraker and record payments here, go ahead and turn this button on and hit the Save Settings button. Another thing you want to do is take a review of your notes on your billing statement. These are the comments that show up on your standard statement. Now, keep in mind that this is going to go to monthly CC and your terms customers. If you got any verbiage in there that's specific to monthly CC, you might want to modify that. And then lastly, take a look at your consolidated billing of the month. If you remember, this is the bill date that is used for monthly CC customers by default to consolidate their bills and charge their credit card. As you know, you can also modify this on the agent's actual profile. So for example, if you are billing customers maybe twice a month or 4 times a month every week, primarily for cash flow purposes, keeping in mind that this is only going to run once a month per customer. If you want to even out your cash flow, you're going to have to set some customers, maybe A through H, on a particular day of the month, maybe on the 7th, and then others might be the 14th, the 21st, and so on. And that will get you the distributed income that you're looking for. But if you're billing twice a month the same customer, you won't be able to use this functionality. I don't think that's too common, but keep that particular detail in mind. So with that, once you've got your variable set up, you're ready to go. Lastly, let's consider the case of a customer who is listed as monthly CC, but for whatever reason simply doesn't want to pay by credit card anymore. You can simply go ahead and edit this customer, change them to a terms customer, and what SignTraker is going to do is convert everything that's outstanding, meaning everything that's not been exported to QuickBooks already, to a terms arrangement. That means it's going to go back and look at the last time you did a QuickBooks export. In our example, that was 8/25. Any installation or service activity after the 25th will be now converted to terms, and that'll be part of the individual statement. So when you're doing those conversions, keep in mind that you might want to convert those customers on the anniversary of the ordinary billing date. That way it kind of keeps things kind of clean, so they don't have sort of a partial month in your QuickBooks and then a partial month in your SignTraker. Now let's get into some of the more special purpose and focused features in this release. So I think the way we'll address this is we'll just run down the quick list and then we'll sort of do a little more detailed demonstration of a couple of these. First off, the admin can now edit the serial number on a change order. So much like you were able to do this on an installation order, if you've got a mistake that you're trying to correct, you can go ahead and edit the serial number on that change order. The returns grid now displays the service completion date. What this means is if there's some orders that have been returned to the warehouse and have just not been processed, that'll start showing up and you'll get a handle on that so things don't get delayed too long. You can now also import route order and preserve the route order via the unified task list if you're using external applications like WorkWave or Optimal Route to route your drivers. So what that means is if you set the route up in one of those external applications and you import the route into SignTraker, the production of the pick lists, the waypoints, the daily work orders, and even the display on the driver's phones will all be preserved in the order you established there. The system will now display exception icon and all installs grid. So if you have an installation that went out and there was a problem with it, couldn't get completed, when you're looking at it the next day and you're wondering why is it still there, you'll see that exception is listed there. This helps the admins and installers know that a problem existed previously at that location and to watch out for that again. The system is now going to display the payment responsibility on each agent profile. You might have seen that earlier in the demonstration. So previously, if you had a cost center that was applicable to a manager or staff, you would have had to have kind of remembered that. Now what we do is we display it right on their profile. So if Sarah agent is connected to some obscure cost center, you'll see it right away. It makes it a lot easier. The system's automatically going to annotate missing inventory items within removal details. So what that means is when you're doing a return and you click on something's missing, not only does it now remove it from the returns grid so you don't have to fool with it, it's actually going to add a note to it saying what order was on, who was processing it with the installer, and on what date. So that happens automatically. You don't have to do that anymore. We're also going to be adding watermarks to installer photos. What this means is all the agents love the photos when you send them. In the corner will be a very light font is going to be your company name. So as they distribute the photo, that's a little bit of free marketing for you. Other optimizations, the daily work orders now display the agent's notes. So if you have a note that's particular to an agent that says something like always install the brochure box facing the street, or some other special case, that'll be listed on the work order now in addition to the order's particular notes like what side of the street they want it or something that's particular to that location. The admin can now add a post note. So when you're creating a new post in your post configurator, if there's something special about this post, like extra features that are included or things that might be excluded or areas that can't be used, you can actually add that note to the post type. So when it's in the selector for the order, the agent can see this information versus sort of maybe having to have guessed about it. And related to ordering, now the system is going to warn agents when they're creating an installation order if the same order exists at that location. So this is to preclude the situation where you have order administrators or ordering pools where one admin orders it and then a couple of days later you get the same order through another channel. And to close out some of the new features, let's get into a little deep dive on the pricing visibility features that we've added. Now, you know that if you are an enterprise account or just generally you don't show prices to agents, you can go ahead and set that globally right here. Not many companies do that, but you could do it there. Another option is you can take an office and you can essentially take the office and turn off pricing visibility to that office entirely. What we've added here is the capability to refine this display. So if prices are to not be shown to anybody at this location, you just say hide prices for everyone, all agents. But you could say show prices to managers only, or show prices to everybody. So now you've got the ability to show prices to the managers, even if the manager is not the payer in this office. So in other words, if you've got an office that has a cost center, the billing's going someplace else, and the cost center doesn't want the agents to see it, but the managers need to know, you can now modify that on an office level this way. A second area that was a problem previously that we've had to fix is the user agreement. So you could, in fact, turn the pricing off, visibility off when ordering. However, if the customer was, a little swift, they could go and take a look at the user agreement and they would see all the pricing here. Now, of course, this is the template, but what we can do now when you turn pricing off and you select the appropriate level of visibility, SignTraker is going to refine what gets shown here. These prices, which would ordinarily be filled, are now just going to be blank. Now, that might be satisfactory for you, or you could go to another level. You could simply block out entire sections of the user agreement so customers can't see anything related to pricing at all if that's what you want. Now, to do that, you're going to have to go into what's called code view here. And we know, let me turn this back off again. We know that the pricing starts sort of down in the bottom of this document in this area called service pricing. So I'm going to go code view here, and then I'm going to say control find, and I want to look for the section called service pricing. And there it is right there. And what you'll notice is this line right here. Let me turn this off. You'll notice this line right here. It says can see service pricing. This is a control string that will block display of anything after this control to anybody who doesn't have pricing visibility enabled. You turn it on at the end of the section down here at the bottom with a similar string, which is sort of the inverse of that, which simply says end. Now you can actually nest a couple of these. You can have a start and an end in one paragraph, and then sort of restart and re-end another section if you want. But you can have complete control over what actually is displayed to the agents depending on their pricing visibility. So I hope you've enjoyed all of the new features discussions that we've had here. If you have any questions on any of this, feel welcome to call our office or send us an email at info@signtraker.com.